Hi, this is Trago, and you're currently visiting our new space in Alkmaar, where we joined forces with a lot of people to have a creative space for artists, but also all kinds of different things like sport, arcade games, and all kinds of fun stuff. But most important, it is the home of my new studio. The room you're looking at now is an old pressing plant where the newspapers used to be pressed. And in the future, I hope we'll see a club here or an art space where people can just try new things. So I'll show you the offices of the label and the studio, of course. That's why you're here. We're now in the office space where we actually run the labels, and it's a free office space, so we share it with the whole community. It's very nice. Daytime very busy, nighttime very quiet. But also, no, it's really nice to have good working ethic, I think, in daytime, and very nice also to have the label really organized. Finally, the studio, the label, the club, eventually, and all these things are becoming one, which in my history were always shattered. But now I'm very happy we found a place that kind of combines it all. So welcome to my music laboratory, aka the music studio. It is weirdly set up, I guess, but for me it makes a lot of sense. I try to vary a lot in my work approach, because every project I work on kind of needs a different sound or a different attitude. Sometimes you want more distorted machines or more FM sounds. Sometimes I'm working on a project that could be more organic or with live musicians. So I try to create a space that is pretty flexible. That's why this is actually my little island, and the rest is just stacking of stuff that we could use. Creativity gets supported by also limiting your options. So that's why I try to create a mini island inside the studio. Yeah, where I kind of connect new dots every time. There are a few basic instruments that I always work with. That's the MPC 2000. That's over there. Actually, the whole process of making music starts in the corner back there, getting inspired by records, sampling, then taking this sample or this idea to this space, where I actually again work on an MPC. This time I'm working on a new MPC, but actually I'm mostly comfortable with the MPC 2000 XL. That's really the machine that I learned making music on. And in the beginning, I just only had that machine. I think for my first album, I was only done on that machine also. The AMU SP1200 was my second machine. I think I did most of my first records with the SP1200 and the MPC 2000. And then the Nordly 2 came, and it was my first synth. And from there on, I think just over the years collected whatever I could buy. Mostly work on Ableton because it's very flexible to work with other people. But I used to work on Logic a lot back in the days. I try not to work in the computer at all because I try to have a jam going on. You know, all the machines working together. For me, that's really exciting. After I started and I have a sort of loop going, I slowly start adding things. When it feels good, that could take 5 minutes or sometimes 30. I try not to work longer than an hour on an idea mostly. But when the idea is kind of set up and all the machines are in place and I'm like, okay, this feels good, it has enough groove. I try to sort of lay it down on the mixer, and from the mixer on, it goes into the computer. Yeah, so one of the machines I use a lot is this little modular machine that I just created out of Euro rack modular stuff, but only dedicated to drums. So I keep it simple for myself because modular is still a big, interesting world for me. This actually all gets sequenced by the MPC again. But then I think the mother clock, which is over there, is the Sync Gen Pro 2, which is the sync clock, which keeps everything in check. From here on, I also control, for instance, the 6-track, a sequential circuits synth. I love to work on the 16 level steps because it's just different if you play on a keyboard than working on the 16 level mode. It all gets coordinated by the sync clock, as I said, but also by the Mio XL, which is MIDI in and out to everything. So if I would play something on a synth, it would be recorded into Ableton. Not only MIDI audio, but also I can return through the Mio everything back to any synth that I want. Those are the key elements here. I try to create different mixing groups. So over here you would have more of the drums coming down, and on that mixer there's more of the synths actually coming down. And then finally I try to combine them all, and they go most of the time into the computer, or sometimes on tape, like this machine also. It is it's a tape echo. I think it's a Jamaican machine, and it's actually a copy of the Korg, but it's called Vork. Just one letter difference, but yeah, it's really nice to use on drums and create tape delay. I can even show you if you want that this is how the tape runs. And yeah, if you slow down the tape, you know, you slow down the echo or the reverb. And yeah, it's a funny machine. Also very happy with this machine. It's pretty new to me. It's like, yeah, really strong on boogie bass, all kinds of stuff. It's one of my new favorites. We have a DX7 here, which is famous for its FM sounds. Very sort of digital and really hard to program, but interesting, and yeah, really has a sound that I kind of like. The Juno 106, quite of a famous machine. I think most of the producers know it, and it has the typical Juno sound. The Poly 800, use it a lot for strings, and yeah, very thin, nice layering sounds. I think this one is quite of a secret or a secret weapon. I bought it from New World Aquarium, which is a Dutch producer also, and I was always such a fan of his sound, very compressed, warm sound. And I just called him and I asked, like, how do you get this warm sound? And he said, well, it's all the drummer 1968. So he said, actually, I need some money, so maybe you want to buy it. So I bought it, and this is, yeah, it's a tube valve compressor, and most of the stuff I run through it before. And underneath you have the Orban, which is a reverb machine, which has a very dirty reverb. Actually, with most machines, also with the drum tracks, it happens that I call a producer. For instance, this one is bought from Dexter, and I call him and I say, like, I'm so in love with this track, like, can you tell me what you used? And then most of the time they're like, yeah, this and this, and actually I'm done with it, so maybe you want to take it over. And that's how it ends up in the studio, you know. Same goes for the 909. Actually, it was the 909 that was from Trouw, which was the club where I grew up as a resident DJ and really had a beautiful dancing youth. What really changed studio life and production for me is having the vocals speakers. I used to work on DIN audio, which I also really liked, but one time I was at Shami the Money, he's also a Dutch producer, and he played me music through these speakers, and I was like, wow, it's almost tangible, you know, you can almost touch the sound. I was amazed, and they really have a low rate of ear fatigue, so you can listen for very long, or long as you want, without getting tired ears. And of course, big shout out to all the plants that give it a jungle vibe. Yeah, so the Rhodes is like an instrument. I always dearly loved that sound, and I didn't know where this warm sound came from. But after doing some research, buying more jazz records, I found out that Fender Rhodes was half an electric piano. And I think it was my second or third instrument, and I really love it. It's still the place where we kind of compose. Always been with me, and it's been everywhere. It's been on the road, it's been in different studios. Still works, and it's the old lady of the studio, I would say. So next to the Rhodes, where we mostly compose the songs, is I call it the ghetto vocal booth, because most studios have a real luxury one, but I kind of like it like this. You can compose on the Fender and somebody can sing at the same time. We do a lot of percussion stuff here. As you can see, the most important corner is actually where the records are. The place where I think for me all starts, if I'm searching for inspiration or anything, but also preparing for DJ sets, it's with records. It's how I got into music. And it's still how I get inspired, if I'm not inspired. Most of the time just digging around, finding stuff, and then using the MPC 2000 to create a really basic loop. For instance, and out of these loops, I kind of recreate interesting melodies, or sometimes I don't even use the basic sample, but I can replay it. But it is definitely the corner of inspiration. And also, yeah, I grew up on sampling, so I guess for me it's a very natural way to start a track. Also, sometimes I just use a snare or a hi-hat or a very small element that will later on not even play a major role in the composition. It still feels cozy to start here. It doesn't hold all my records at the moment, but it's big enough for now. It is built by my cousin actually, and I'm proud of him because he did quite a great job doing this. So big shout out to him. It holds some of the catalog, some old albums also, and yeah, a lot of inspirational stuff. My whole musical career started with this piano. My mom bought it when she was pregnant, and she had some time off, and she invested in a piano. And this is the one. So I think as a baby, I heard my first musical sounds on this one. You know, so I think yeah, that's where you could say it all starts. Yeah, this is also a very important corner, I think, for the studio. It is where I make my teas. I'm a big tea fan, fanatic, you could say. It's the water filter, and I would suggest a lot of people drink a lot of tea because it's healthy, but it's also very inspirational in a way. So that's where this is made. This couch also can serve as a bed. For long studio nights, it could be useful. Yeah, if you have any questions or want to know more about the studio or how I set things up or my workflow, you can place a comment and I will reply. Thank you for visiting.